We have a special guest for you today. We're talking training camp, injury updates, and maybe a little bit about food. Stay tuned.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Cardinals Connection.
Palmer extending the play.
Nobody there.
Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald is going to take it into Green Bay territory. Larry Fitzgerald inside the 30, the 20.
If he
Larry
scores, it's
Fitzgerald
over.
is insane to the 4-yard line. One of the greatest postseason performers ever.
The sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome to the sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast, Cardinals Connection, the podcast that brings you the fans' perspective on Cardinals football. I'm Kelly. He's James. You can find us on Twitter at Kelly and Phoenix and MHJ_era. I mean, James, I was going to ask you what you've been up to since we last spoke, but I mean, if you want to keep it private, that's fine.
So I've been keeping up with training camp a lot. It's been really nice, really fun. Shout out to Donnie Druin. He's been hooking it up with the best training camp videos. Also, shout out to Bro Brock, Johnny Venerable, and also Tyler Drake. Been doing a great job covering the Cardinals today.
They really are. And even though you weren't able to join us, do you want to introduce who today's guest was?
This is a big one. I'm so happy. This week's guest is Cardinals beat reporter Donnie Druin. I'm actually so bummed I wasn't able to be there for it, but he talks with you about some of the takeaways from training camp, key player updates, and also a little bit about some new stadium food.
Food. Yes, I am so bummed that you couldn't be with us too, because I know you really wanted to chat. But don't worry, he's going to be on again later this season. And he did give you a shout out at the end of his segment.
It's my guy, man.
So even though you weren't able to be with us during the interview, I do want to talk to you about something that Kyler is releasing. What is it?
It's his own signature shoe. It's the Vapor Pro 1, Kyler Murray's. The cleats are actually available on Nike.com now, and they're looking pretty nice.
Cleats. He needs a tennis shoe.
He does need a tennis shoe. That would be actually pretty cool. I know he is a football player, so the cleats do make sense. They are looking pretty fire. I cannot lie.
I mean, maybe we could send him to one of those shoe doctor people and they can make them not cleats.
Shave them. That would actually be pretty funny. But yeah, so the first release is white and neon green, which is actually pretty surprising. But I know Kyler is more of a unique guy, especially when it comes to shoes. Last time he was wearing the Kobe Grinches that turned into cleats, which is actually pretty cool, and it's kind of slightly inspired by these. So.
That's really cool. Maybe the green is just like to go with the football field, or maybe green's his favorite color. It's my favorite color.
It is. Yeah, he has been known to wear some pretty bright shoes. So it's the first colorway. I'm actually interested to see if there's going to be any more colorways in the future. But this is actually a pretty big thing for Kyler, getting his own shoe.
That's really exciting. Maybe it'll give him superpowers for the season.
We need it.
We do. Let's go ahead and roll into this Donnie interview that everyone's highly anticipating.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
I am so excited with my internet being weird and all. I don't know what's going on. Donnie, welcome to the show. I am so excited to talk to you about camp because there's a lot of stuff you've been covering. You've been covering injury, you've been covering rookies, you've been covering returning veterans, you've even been covering food.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of everything this training camp. You never really know what you're gonna get every summer whenever they report, and you see all the new players added, you see all the new schematic things that the coaches have done on both sides of the ball. So many storylines, so much hope and excitement this time of year. It's been really cool being at training camp practices and having fans there and stuff. So, football season's here.
I read the Cardinals are going to be playing starters in the preseason. What?
Yeah, the exact opposite of what we come to expect from Jonathan Gannon, especially after his first 2 years, where I think Marvin Harrison Jr. played 3 snaps last year and didn't get a target his way. And then they're like, yeah, he's cool. He's ready. Get him out. Whenever we asked Gannon, a big proponent of his thinking was, we think it's the best thing for this team this year. They feel like you're in a good spot health wise. And to be honest, I think this upcoming week against the Kansas City Chiefs, a team notorious for playing their starters in the preseason, I think it'll be a good test for them. I really think it'll be a good barometer to see where they're at this point in the process. That being said, I don't think people should read too much into it, good or bad, depending on how Saturday night goes. But you consistently hear coaches wanting to get good on good reps on film, and what better team to get good on good than the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and company coming out to State Farm Stadium.
Great point. Among those starters is Kyler Murray throwing?
We'll
Wow.
see.
We'll
We'll see.
see.
Kyler Murray's gonna suit up, but whether he throws or not remains to be seen. Nobody really knows. We're just promised the cake. We don't know the flavor of it yet, but we know we're getting cake, and we're all really excited for it.
We love cake. Speaking of cake, okay, I was gonna save this to the end, but I'm gonna move along.
Oh, the food? Okay. I was like,
I'm
where are
gonna
you
move
going with
along
this?
to food because,
Yeah.
because cake, food. I love me some food. I love me some cake. I saw some pretty yummy things. One of them looked like milk and churros.
Horchata. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday they had media preview a lot of the food, a lot of the new food options coming to State Farm Stadium this year, which is always like a really cool day for us because like the CEO of the Cardinals, Jeremy Wells, or CFO, I forget his actual title, talks for like 10 minutes, and then they have like all of the free food for us to like try. And so like that's pretty cool. I got to have like a fourth of a burger that was pretty sick. I had a breakfast. What was it? A breakfast panini, something like that. That had like sausage, egg, cheese, and like potatoes on it. That was pretty good. Um, the churro with the horchata, that was pretty good. They just had a bunch of different things. And it's always so interesting to see like the different concepts they have for food. And then they also announced there's like Cardinals branded like wine coming to State Farm Stadium. Didn't get to sample that. So I mean, little bit disappointed we didn't get to turn up on training camp practice, but it's neither here nor there. And then also they're gonna have like a rivalry grill to where whatever team is visiting State Farm Stadium, they'll have like food based off of like where they're coming from. So like the example you used was like Green Bay. Whenever they come here, cheese curds will probably be a thing. And that said rivalry grill and all that good stuff. So a lot of different, unique, and really cool things happening.
I don't know if that's opening up a Pandora's box for hate by having opposing teams' food because you know they're going to be comparing it to home. Cheese curds are very controversial. Like,
Are
apparently,
they?
they're supposed to squeak when you bite into them, and those are the best ones.
I ate my body weight in cheese curds whenever I went to Lambeau last year. They didn't really squeak. Maybe I just blacked out from the cheesy goodness and I didn't hear it squeak. But
The only ones that squeaked for me in Green Bay were the ones they gave at the airport when I got off the plane, like the greeting committee. Did you get those?
no, we flew into Milwaukee and
Oh,
then we
okay.
drove
Well,
to
you
Green
missed
Bay.
out because the greeting committee
Clearly, I
gave,
did.
and they weren't breaded, and we bit into them and they squeak. I mean, this is a whole different conversation, but I all I can think about is people like Detroit, if we serve Detroit pizza, or like everybody's gonna freak
Detroit
out.
pizza's the best pizza, by the way.
It is really good. I love those
100%.
tiny little pepperoni cups too. This conversation has gone awry, but I love it so much. I have you on the show because I do want to get into some technical items that only you can talk about. What were some of your favorite moments from camp. What were some of your observations? Give us whatever you can from the inside.
Yeah, favorite moments from camp, I think, is probably on third day of camp. There was so much talk and buzz about Marvin Harrison Jr. coming into this year and what he would look like and how different he would be with like the muscle added to his frame and just if he would be more confident after having like a year's worth of experience under his belt. And like he made some plays on day one, he made some plays on day two, and then I remember day three. Um, he just caught everything in sight, and I'm just like, okay, like it's not just like a flash in a pan. Like this guy clearly upgraded something to his repertoire. He very much looks like the product people wanted coming out of Ohio State last year. Um, Very much bounced back from what many consider to be a disappointing rookie season. In the offseason, he really refined in his work and sharpened his tools. He added muscle to his frame, but I don't think that like slowed him down any at all. I think that's just going to allow him to be a little bit more physical at the point of attack. And then more than anything, I think the most impressive thing about Marv's offseason, I remember we talked to him during like OTAs and we were like, hey, like what did you try to like own in on over the offseason? And he talked about in detail his film study and like where defenders were like hitting him at the point of attack and where they were trying to like throw him off during routes. And not only that, but like where they were relative to him both before and after the catch. And I remember after that press conference ended, I'm like, yeah, he's the son of an NFL Hall of Fame receiver. Like that is not normal. Even for like NFL standards, like the devil's truly in the details, and then like I do think it is going to be hell for cornerbacks trying to keep up with them this upcoming year. So I think watching Marv come to fruition and kind of step into the spotlight, I think was really cool. And then the first day of pads, watching the Cardinals defensive line absolutely dominate and completely wreck anything the Cardinals offense wanted to do. I walked away from that saying, okay, like, you know, you hear every offseason about how a team got better on paper and they should be good, but sometimes it doesn't really pan out. Watching them do what they did to the Cardinals offense, I was like, they're for real. Like that's going to be a problem. Not just for Drew Petzing, but 31 other offensive coordinators in the National Football League too. Um, that's probably my biggest takeaway. And I think more than anything, just it feels like there's genuine expectations of making the playoffs this year. And I don't think I've had that for a handful of years now covering the team. It's always been, well, you know, maybe, and then they hit the rebuild button with Jonathan Gannon. It's like, okay, like we're clearly not going to be able to do anything. Um, and then for them to have barely missed the playoffs last year, to have added all the talent they did over the course of the offseason, there's buzz, there's excitement. And I just think that's so cool. I think it helps generate a lot more fun around the team. I think it makes the stakes a little bit more higher for like everything they do, like move and transaction wise. Um, yeah, this should be a really fun year. I really do. And you know, not to get too deep into predictions, but um, at least for me, like I do think it's playoffs or bust. I don't think heads roll if they don't miss the post if they do miss the postseason. I do think we'll see some changes if they don't make the playoffs, but like this team clearly is talented enough to at minimum be in that conversation entering the final week of the year.
I agree with you 100%. I think this is going to be a really fun season. Definitely playoff worthy. It's just feels different.
Yeah.
I mean, last year felt different, and we were all pretty excited knowing it was a rebuilding year, but it felt so close. And now this year feels even closer. So that's really exciting. I agree with you. Are there any injuries that have happened at camp that are going to impact the team in a substantial way? Or do you think that we're going to make it by? These are just service level. Give us the down low on injuries.
Yeah, so the Sean Murphy bunting injury happened before training camp, so I don't want to count that. I
Sure.
do want to talk about the Starling Thomas injury though, because they lost him what seems like to be for the year with an ACL injury. And Star was going to not only make the roster, not only play, like I think he's going to be a week one starter. Like I think he was going to be a starting cornerback to start out the year, at
Yeah.
least until they felt comfortable enough with Will Johnson to roll him into the starting lineup. That injury, I think, did a couple things. I think one, it's going to just thrust Will Johnson into the starting lineup. Not that he's not ready, but I do think like losing Starr and Sean Murphy Bunting, that just completely opens up the door for the second round pick to go in and start, like, which isn't a bad thing. He's looked very, very good in training camp. I'm excited to see what he looks like in preseason. Um, but I do think that impacts maybe some of the like top end cornerback depth because I'm comfortable with Will Johnson and Max Melton starting. But
Right.
if you need that like rotational guy underneath them, we're looking at like Denzel Burke, Keitrell Clark, Elijah Jones, which like no bad players. But it's like if you would have had like an established guy like Sterling Thomas in that spot instead, I think you feel really, really good about your cornerback rotation. Now it's like, okay, we do have solidified starters, but can we get anything from the guys underneath? Like, is Keitrell Clark serviceable enough? Is Denzel Burke serviceable enough? Is Elijah Jones serviceable enough? Like we don't really know, but we knew with guys like Starling Thomas and Max Melton, and then Will Johnson being a second round pick, obviously the talent and potential was through the roof. So like that injury kind of changed things for me at least a little bit. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on through the preseason. The Michael Wilson concussion. I don't think is going to be and like you can't speculate on concussions just because
Right.
like the timelines for those are just so volatile. Um, Even if he were to miss like a couple of weeks, I don't think that changes too much. Just because I think Zay Jones has done an incredible job in training camp, kind of um, emerging himself as like the secondary option behind like Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. in terms of the wide receiver core. So obviously, like Michael Wilson is a very talented receiver. I think he doesn't get enough credit in Arizona's
Right.
offense or nor enough opportunity, but I don't expect the Michael Wilson concussion to really impact anything, let alone keep him out for a super long time. Don't be surprised if John Gaines has to have surgery. Um, that didn't really impact things, but like he went in for a couple of plays during the red and white scrimmage with the starters and then had to come out. I'm not going to say too much, but like don't be
Yeah.
surprised if he has to get surgery on his hand at one point or another. I'm trying to rack my brain. Other than that, like the injuries aren't really too
Yeah.
too much. BJ Ojolari, who knows with him? Uh, so I remember last year, um, he tore his knee up, and I was told it was bad, like bad. And normally nowadays, like that ACL recovery time is typically around like 9 to 10 months for a return, and like we're pretty much at 12 months right now. So, um, he must have done horrific things to that knee injury, and like at least from any indications inside the building to us, I have no clue when to expect him back. I really, really don't.
Yeah.
Walter Nolan's injury, I think he might be ready by week one of the regular season, but I think they're just being overly cautious with that, especially after seeing Darius Robinson also work through a calf injury and suffering a setback whenever he tried to return last year.
Right.
And then Bilal Nichols, I think he's getting close to return, but I don't know exactly when. But other than that, like they're a pretty healthy team. They really, really
Yeah.
are.
And there's still plenty of time. I mean, it feels like the season's upon us because it is, but there's still some weeks to go. So, sending them all our good vibes. Why don't we hear more about Dante Stills when we're talking about Cardinals defense?
Dante Stills was underrated last year
Yep.
in a very less talented defensive line room. He produces. He plays extremely good football. And for whatever reason, people don't think he's like sexy enough to talk about, I guess, but he's a very, very good defensive lineman. I don't think it helps you add guys like Walter Nolan, Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson to
Right.
the room to where now it feels like it shouldn't feel like this because he's so good, but like now it feels like okay, like he might be fighting for a roster spot just given how deep and talented that room is.
I
He's
know.
good. He's had another good training camp too. He's parlayed that success he had from last year. So I don't think he's in danger of missing the final 53 at all because just when Jonathan Gannon gets in front of a microphone and says, "I'm not in the business of cutting good football players," that means I'm not in the business of cutting Dante Stills, and that's just not something that I think should be a possibility for this team. But that's such a deep and talented defensive line room. It really is.
Yeah, it's been a topic on several shows with Frank Sanders. We had Fan on the show, Mervin, talking about it too. Like, we're all big fans, and I'm especially a big fan. I just think he's such a sweet angel baby. And he brings plenty to the team. Like you said, he was just shining. It was almost like big fish in small pond. And now it's small fish in big pond. But I agree with you. I don't think we're in any danger of seeing him cut, but I just hope that he has as successful, if not more success this season. You mentioned Michael Wilson happens to be my favorite receiver on the team. Frank Sanders seems to think it's because he's so handsome. That is not why. It's because he's very talented.
Mike is a good looking dude. Like Mike,
He
yeah.
is. He's a good looking guy, but he's also very talented. I love, out of all of football, my favorite thing is watching just these explosive catches. And we know Marvin Harrison Jr. is capable, but even before he came along, we had Michael Wilson, who just made some really explosive plays. Where am I going with this? Michael Wilson is my favorite fantasy football, like sneaky sleeper flex play because just not too many people outside of Arizona are in on the secret. So there you go. I'm doing some writing for you over
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
On a Side.
SL.com/NFL/Cardinals.
And my first article was fun fantasy football team names, and the first 25 were a Cardinal slant. So if you're looking for a fantasy football team, check that out. And I hope to be producing some more fantasy content for you with a Cardinal slant through the rest of the season.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming. Anything else you want to share? What's going on with you? Do you have a regularly scheduled pod or do you guys just hop on?
We just vibe. We're supposed to do it every week, but me and Richie, our schedules are just so different nowadays. It's really hard to like coordinate at times. So instead, I just do other people's podcasts, which is like whatever. But I don't mind it. That's on. It's been really cool. But it feels like things have really taken off for me this year, at least like social media wise and like podcast appearance wise and stuff. So like that's been pretty cool. But yeah, no, me and Richie, we tried to record once a week. I think we might try to go Friday before the Chiefs game just to preview the preseason week 1 action. But not other than that, I'm just writing and being a goofball, chewing a bubble gum, and here to cover the Cardinals, and I'm all out of bubble gum. So
Well, if you ever need anybody to fill in, I can fill in for you since I'm now officially part of the fam.
yes,
Um, it was so fun talking to you. As always, I'm gonna have to get you on with James. He's so bummed that he wasn't here for this discussion.
shout out MHA era, man. Great follow on Twitter.
He's a great follow on Twitter, and so are you. And I knew you way back when,
You
before
did,
you
you
like
did.
blew
I was a
up.
baby. I
Don't
was a
forget
baby.
us little people. All right, Donnie, I appreciate your time and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Donnie. It was awesome having you on the podcast this week. I'm hoping to have you on the podcast more often this season. Let's go, Cardinals.
Go Cardinals. Yes, Donnie, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, you can find him at Donnie Druin on the app formerly known as Twitter.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Cardinals Connection on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.